Okay, everyone. Scott Pelley was fired from 60 Minutes. Now, he was fired for cause, and so the news reporter has become the news. And not because his firing is all that significant, in my view. I don't think so. There are plenty of reporters who can take his place and do the job very well, if not better. Now, his firing is news, in my view, because of how he chose to go out. Cursing and spitting. Metaphorically, not literally cursing and spitting, but metaphorically cursing and spitting at the new leadership. Nick Bilton, who was just hired by CBS News chief Bari Weiss as executive producer of 60 Minutes. Now, Bilton is supposed to revamp the show and bring it into the digital age. Now, it seems that the conflict had been brewing for a while, even before Nick Bilton was hired. Scott Pelley said after he was fired, and I quote, "New management has instructed me to inject falsehoods and bias into a politically sensitive story. I've been told to include assertions that are unverified," unquote. Now, apparently he was referring to what he characterizes as pressure from Bari Weiss since she had become CBS News chief. He also was upset that the 60 Minutes interview with Israeli PM Bibi Netanyahu was conducted by Major Garrett because Garrett was Bibi's choice to conduct the interview. Leslie Stahl, who's a correspondent on 60 Minutes, had been passed over for the interview. Major Garrett isn't a correspondent on 60 Minutes. He doesn't work for the show. He works for CBS. So Pelley objected to Netanyahu choosing who could interview him. Now, last week, the leadership team and two correspondents were fired from 60 Minutes, and Bilton was hired as executive producer. In a staff meeting this week, apparently, Pelley accused Bari Weiss of quote-unquote murdering 60 Minutes because the leadership team and two correspondents were quote-unquote cruelly let go without cause. Now, he also said that Bari Weiss had no qualifications for her job and that Bilton had slender qualifications for the job. Okay, so Nick Bilton and Bari Weiss immediately brought Pelley into a meeting with HR, and obviously HR was there to document that the I's were dotted and T's were crossed because Pelley was going to be fired, or at the very least his firing was on the table. And the meeting didn't go well. When Scott Pelley's firing was announced by CBS, Nick Bilton issued a statement documenting the specific grounds of alleged misconduct committed by Pelley that caused him to be terminated for cause. Now, Bilton said that Pelley treated him with remarkable incivility and contempt and accused Pelley of hijacking Bilton's first meeting with the 60 Minutes staff. At the meeting with HR, apparently Bilton tried to mend fences and give Pelley a chance to cool down, but they could not find a way to work together. Now, Pelley was a news veteran for 37 years. Pelley also accused Bari Weiss of trying to curry favor with the Trump administration. Some folks in the media anticipate that Pelley might file a lawsuit. Being fired for cause obviously would deprive him of severance and other types of benefits. Now, Pelley is a high-profile journalist. I wouldn't call him a celebrity journalist, but he was respected in the industry and by his peers. Now, the twist here is that if he weren't so well-known, CBS might have terminated him without cause and paid him a severance just to avoid an expensive legal proceeding. But CBS News here chose to terminate him for cause. And that's CBS News saying that it's prepared to fight, although it will be expensive. Now, it's up to Scott Pelley and his lawyers whether they want to put CBS News to the test. If the fight gets too expensive in terms of audience goodwill, okay? If the viewing public takes Scott Pelley's side, that is to say, it's possible that CBS News might pay a large settlement to Pelley and later pay out a severance to Bari Weiss and Nick Bilton as well, just to get rid of all of the warring factions. CBS is a brand, and 60 Minutes is a brand. The brands are the moneymakers, not Scott Pelley, Bari Weiss, or Nick Bilton, even though they're all very capable, but lots of people are capable. No individual, by reason of his or her unique personality or gifts, is essential to maintaining those brands, and that's something that's happened with those brands over time. The brands have value apart from individual personalities. In fact, the brands impart their luster to the individuals who are working with those brands. And I'll just observe here by saying Scott Pelley probably has forgotten what it was like when he was just starting out at 60 Minutes. He wasn't always the veteran journalist with 37 years of experience. Scott Pelley is cursing and spitting metaphorically at Bari Weiss and Nick Bilton, but Pelley had a lot more in common with them when he was just starting out at 60 Minutes. Although Bari Weiss and Nick Bilton aren't the on-air personalities, and there isn't much reason for caution for Bari Weiss and Nick Bilton in any event because they didn't do anything wrong legally, per se. So even if CBS lets them go at a later stage, they will be paid their severance. That would be my guess. And they can sell their stock at that point, and there's just not much risk for them financially. So if they are let go, it might be an indication that although they didn't do anything wrong, maybe they didn't do enough that was right in terms of increasing the audience for 60 Minutes and CBS News. Regardless, the controversy won't be financially ruinous for any of the parties involved. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.